One individual may die for an idea, but that idea will, after its death, incarnate itself in 1,000 lives. Make our reach to our category. Belong to the esteemed dignitaries, expert speakers, senior professors, the head of various departments, faculty members, media persons, scholars, students, and non-teaching staff members. Today, to grace this occasion, we have with us our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Krishnan Sir, most respected Registrar, Professor Sulochana Shekhar Madam, in her absence here, most respected Dean, Academic, and Controller of Examination, Professor S. Nagarajan Sir, most respected Dean, School of Legal Studies, Nodal Officer, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and convener of this program, Dr. Vedamurugan P.S., and most respected Dr. Parameshwaran, librarian, so Central University of Tamil Nadu, and most esteemed guest of today's program, Professor P. Kanagasabapati, sir, former chairman, ICSSR, New Delhi, Professor Amarish Samantaraya, Registrar, Pondicherry University, our panelist, Dr. Jabamalai, former principal advisor to the Director General of United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Austria, and Professor Ashish K. Barma, the Director of Bharatidasan Institute of Management, joined us online for today's session. We are immensely happy to thank you and welcome you all to this inaugurating program, the discussion on the book entitled Modi at 20, Brings Me Relevance. The book is a comprehensive of 21 articles by 22 domain experts, bringing out various aspects of the thinking and performance of the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in various domains as Chief Minister of Gujarat and later as Prime Minister of India, spanned the period of 6 years as head of government at the state and national level. Today, we have sense of pride in your motherland, just as your mother has given birth to you. So, to the land has given birth to you. Let us all raise for Tamil Taiwan. சீராகும் வதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிது தெக்கடவும் மதித்திரன திராவிடனும் திருநாடும் தரிசனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போலனி துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்கம் இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே தீவிரமை திறமையான செயல்மகன் வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே. Light symbolizes peace and prosperity. If you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. Buddha, may we now request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the Kutuvala. Thank you, sir. The Tiranga, the happiness of our home, the happiness of our nation. It's a campaign under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to encourage people to bring the Tiranga home and to it to mark the 75th year of India's independence. Our relationship with our national flag is more personal and a pride to every citizen of this nation. Flags in our houses, actively as a nation, in the 75th year of India's independence, is a symbol of an emotional connection to the Tiranga and an embodiment of our commitment to the nation building. The major aim of this program is to invoke the feeling of patriotism in the people's heart and promote awareness about the Indian national flag. May we now kindly invite Dr. P. Rapanishwaran, librarian, Central University of Tamil Nadu, to deliver the lecture.
Most respected Professor at Business, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Tamil Nadu. Respected P. Kanada Sabhapati, former chairman, ICSSR University. Respected Dr. S. K. Verma, Director, Warriors Institute of Management. Respected Dr. Jabamale, University, former Principal Administrator, Director General of Industrial Development Organization, Vienna, Austria. Respected Professor Amri Samantraya, Registrar in Charge, Pondicherry University. Respected Finance Officer, Chief Council, respected Professor Narayan sir, COE, CAPN, Dr. P. Sreelmuller, Dean School of Legal Studies, Dean Heads, Faculty, Officers, students of CAPN. Good morning to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver welcome address in this discussion on Modi at 20-week delivery. First of all, I welcome our most respected Professor Business and Honorable Vice Chancellor CAPN for proceeding this discussion. I welcome you, sir. I welcome our Chief Guest, respected Professor P. Kanada Sabhapati, former Chairman of ICSSR, eagerly for his valuable thoughts from this discussion. I welcome you, sir. I welcome R.C.K. Verma, Director of Warriors Institute of Management, who will be in online system. I welcome Dr. Jabamale Minanakari, former Professor at Research to the Director General of Electronics Institute, Organization, Vienna, Austria, Professor Amri Samantraya, Registered in Charge, Pondicherry University. I welcome our Finance Officer and our COE Professor Nair for the next season. I welcome Dr. P. S. Sreelmuller for coordinating with me to organize in this for this discussion. I welcome all the media and press people for a coverage of this discussion. I welcome deans, heads, officers, faculty, staff, and students of CAPN for participating in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for delivering the welcome address. May we now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Krishnan, sir, to honor our esteemed guest of the day. Professor P. Kanada Sabhapati, former Chairman, ICSSR, New Delhi. Thank you, Professor. Next, Professor Amri Samantraya, Registrar in Charge, Pondicherry University. Thank you, sir. May we now invite our most respected Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Krishnan, sir, a dynamic leader and visionary, to deliver the presidential address. Please.
My dear and respected Professor Undisputed, the former chairman, ICSSR, New Delhi, and my dear friend and his leading administrator, Professor Amaresh Samanthaya, Registrar in charge, Pondicherry University. My dear friend, respected Director, Dr. Asit Parma, Bharatanagar Institute of Management, Jusrapalli, Dr. Sabamalai, former principal advisor to the Director General of United Nations Industrial Development and Organization, Vienna, Austria. And my dear respected Registrar Ajay Koti had gone for Chennai, and Professor Nagarajan, Professor Parameshwaran, Professor Venurugan, and the Dean of different schools, head of the departments, students, friends, and media. I am so happy to be here for this wonderful program on discussion on Modi Choki. Dream meet delivery. Actually, I think all that experts is going to talk about it. How a simple man, right, be a leader of this country. Not only a state chief minister, but also Prime Minister of India. Even though yesterday I thought of it, why instead of PM at 20, why they are keeping the name Modi at 20? But I had the feeling that instead of PM, we have to discuss about that Modi 20, because how from your basic life he started in Gujarat and then how he reached this one. Even yesterday, they announced that again is the Prime Minister candidate for India. But I don't want to talk about the politics on this one. But I had experience of different occasions to personally see the Modi. Number one, very recently we had a Vice Chancellor's conference at Varanasi, where, of course, he usually talked about emotionally how the higher education should be. But after that, the nice part, what we had it, I think 530 participants were there in the Varanasi that conference. He visited each and every row personally and greets everybody. I think that we can't see in any Prime Minister's stage where it's not possible. That gives that affection, saying that how he is coming down without seeing that what you call the higher position of the Prime Minister, number one. Number two, I think when we are going for a higher position like Vice Chancellor or Dean or whatever it may be, we are getting a lot of critics. Critics is very important to improve our pathway. The critics also coming for Modi in different occasions, but he never cared about it. What he's dreaming, he wants to implement it. That's a great thing. Because when I joined at Madurai Kamaraj University as a Vice Chancellor, just 1 or 2 months, really I cared about it coming the news and everything. But later, I feel that if you are right, if you are straightforward, if you are transparent, you don't worry about anything. That I learned from, I think, the great Prime Minister Modi. That's the second thing. Third one, recently I saw a video. He visited actually the Japan for some meeting. That I don't want to deal about it. It's a external affairs meeting. He started from here midnight in the day. 2 days he was there, and then come back second day midnight to India. He attended 48 meetings in Japan with a different occasion. 48 meetings. Imagine that the Prime Minister is going and received by the Japanese state. I don't know that how he attended that. Even attending one meeting, I think Kannada Sababaji will accept it. how much we are preparing, how much today we are having the what we are going to talk about it. And it's also an important meeting for a Prime Minister. I think that timeless, the thing what he is doing, it's wonderful. The third one, what I am seeing that the great Prime Minister Modi, I hear about it. It's true also. Wherever he is going, for example, Indonesia, that's the only example I can say that. The moment of what he is taking from India, he is thinking out that what the relationship we are having with India, with Indonesia. That memento is taken to and given to that Indonesia people, the Prime Minister. So how much he should think about it, imagine that. It's not just like that going. That is the very important thing. Before I am coming to that verse, again I can say that I visited his house at Gujarat because we had been there for some other meeting when he was the Chief Minister of India, the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Such a simple house. Such a simple house. His mother was sitting on the day. Of course, today I could see that a new chair was sitting, a plastic chair was sitting for her. But that day, a broken chair was given to that the mother of the great leader, Modi. So I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that it is possible to live like that. Because I'm talking my family. Because when I was a vice chancellor, my daughter is saying that I am a daughter of a vice chancellor. I need it. It's a routine thing. Normally, routine thing. And also today, I don't know how many of you read about it yesterday. There is a problem in the office of his brother, right, giving the DA or something like that facility. Actually, his brother is leading strike against the Gujarat government. Such a transparent way we are going to get it. So I am seeing a person, how he built up that, what you call the stature from a person where in the street, and then became a Prime Minister. And 2 terms, 3 terms, like that it's going like that. Now, some of the things I have taken, when that our vice president, when releasing the book, what he told a simple word, Modi, a phenomenon. Why? Because we are going to get any other person like that, apart from the politics. And I'm going to see that it's a phenomenon. You can't get it such a person in future. Number 2, our Honorable Minister Jaishankar told that more than a Minister of External Affairs, he knows everything. He reads the file every day. He's not simply signing. I think this book is not enough to tell everything the character of Modi. It's not possible. The great chapter, 5 great chapter is going to telling that important things, one is the pillars of governance. How you can be a good leader of a good governance, that's a very important thing. Even that when we are talking about NAC or MARF and everything, we are talking about that how your governance should be. Second one, politics is there everywhere. Politics to lead to the unity. That's the book deals about it. How your politics can give with the unity. Number 3, you have to see that everywhere you have to have a transparent government. Because what he tried to tell that there are so many committees, so many untransparent, what you call that, the scandal in different aspects. Where it's a wrong impression to the public about the politician. That should be taken away. That book deals about it. And also, India, not only India, the whole world is a single party. So these are the important points they have discussed very carefully. And also, today, We are in the transformative part. How we are. Usually I am telling that in the different meetings also. I told that my father told to me, you are going to live in a developing country. I told to my daughter and also my student, you are going to live in a developing country. When we are going to say that we are living in a developed country, that transformation when we are going to get it. So this book deals about when you have that five important points, sutras, that is inclusiveness, empowerment, transparency, reform, well-planned, and democracy. If a government or any leader should follow like that, then very soon my students and my daughter will say that we are going to live in a developed country. That is the thing we are going to talk about it. Because it's a history, I can say. As I told that when I was in Gujarat, the road construction and the solar implantation for that cover the river. These are some of the example ways a single man is planned like that, and also that he occupied the chair. So finally, because Pranasabhi will talk more about it. One thing I want to tell that when we were in Varanasi, that the ex-president of Japan shot out and then he was hospitalized and died. We saw the photograph there. When Modi was elected as a MP for Varanasi, they didn't have any conference call at Varanasi. So when he visited, the ex-prime minister visited Varanasi, he told that there is no conference call as a prime minister. I can't do for this Varanasi alone. I don't know what I can do that. But immediately, the ex-president had given 9 crores in a single check to conduct this conference. Of course, giving is, of course, very good heart. But to whom we are giving is very important. That affection, what we are having on him. On the date of that day, when they are searching the office of that prime minister, they are having only 4 photographs in his room. The 4 photographs throughout the world, that is 1 photograph is Modi. So that is the thing. Getting that good name in your family is very easy. And a good name in the friends is very easy. Good name in that what you call in the village is very easy. But throughout the world, getting the good name, it's not very easy. That is the thing our great Prime Minister Modi had. So that really, my students, I can say, wherever we have a good character, we have to learn. We have to take it up. Then we have to follow them. That's I can say the title of the book. Dream, what our great leader, scientist, Abdul Kalam told them. Dream, dream, dream. How you are going to achieve that in the dreams is very important. Dream, everything can do that. When you are sleeping properly, you will get the dream. But how much you are going to achieve is very important. The dream is delivery, how it's going to be achieved. That is the thing we have to learn. So that's the thing. We are here to discuss about this book. Of course, the librarian can give more copies to the library to read about it. Again, I registered here, it's not politics. It's for a person can come from. There is no what you call that, the background. Just like that you are working, you can be. It's possible. Finally, I can say only one example with me. Because when the Madurai Kamaraj University established in 1964, with the arm dryer, with a broken cycle with my family, I was standing in front of that university because the great leader Anadra is giving the competition. We went to the broken cycle with the arm dryer and then sitting and seeing that what a great people Madurai Kamaraj University. What I thought of it, I would be a vice chancellor of this great university. saying that if we think we work properly with your transparency, with work with hard work, definitely we will reach that destination. Your dream will come true. That's the example what we are having on Modi. It is the great occasion for me because so many experts are there. They will talk more about it. Once again, thank you, Dr. Murugan, for giving such a wonderful opportunity, and Dr. Parmeshwaran for giving that librarian to work together to bring this event successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your valuable insight on the book and our great Prime Minister. May we now invite the Dean Academics and Controller of Examination, Professor S. Nagarajan, sir, Central University of Tamil Nadu, to facilitate the program.
Most respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, our guest, Professor Kanagan Sabhavati, Dr. Amrish, Register, Pondicherry University, Librarian Sir, Finance Officer, Terrorism Sir, another invitees, Dr. Jabanawai and Dr. Verma, the deans, head of the departments, good colleagues, good scholars. Very good morning to all of you. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be a part of this discussion on Modi at 40. That is Modi at 2 decades. So when I look into the book, it's a really a remarkable one, contributed by 22 authors, 21 chapters. So I just looking into one of the chapter because the chapter contributed by our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar. So the kind of narration, kind of message, whatever he has given, his experiences, and he worked with him for the past 8 years. Kind of observation he made, really is remarkable. As our Vice Chancellor has mentioned, it's a kind of a role model. You can say it's a role model. A person from Gujarat to Delhi, how he traveled and how he reached a level, and kind of a governance he made, right? The achievements he has made, whatever, kind of a curiosity to learn everything is the most important. And the next part is implementing. That is the dreams meet delivery. So the observing a concept, observing a thing, and implementing, that is the best part with respect to the Prime Minister. And also, it's foreign policy. But whatever Dr. Jaishankar has mentioned, is a remarkable. Whatever we achieved in the last 8 years and also 2 decades, is a remarkable thing. And also, a person, the contradicting, is giving importance to the value, the culture, tradition, and again, another contradiction, science and technology. Whenever when there was a crisis for the COVID vaccine, immediately, so we have focused on that. So it's a balancing both and giving importance to language. So whenever in any meeting, even for me, it's like very difficult to remember the poem or whatever in the but the person, Modi is able to one stanza or a few Tirupurals, he's able to present in a public meeting without referring anything. That's a enormous effort. That's kind of a relevant message to a particular thing. It's a kind of a remarkable person. So really, I'm very happy to be a part of this event, and we have eminent speakers here to discuss on this as the book Modi at 20. So this is yours. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for your enriching work towards creating this profession. We are profusely elated to take this opportunity to introduce our chief guest, Professor Kanagan Sabhavati, sir. Sir is the former chairman, ICSSR, New Delhi, and well known for his India-centric research work. Sir is author of various books, to mention few: Indian Model of Economic, Business and Management, particularly India. Sir is a member of various international and national forums. May we now request the most respected sir to give the address on this occasion.
Respected Vice Chancellor, President Krishnan, Dr. Amrish, Dr. Parmeshwaran, Dr. Murugan, Dr. Nagarajan, esteemed benefits, and my fellow
faculty members, brothers and sisters, young scholars. I'm extremely happy to be here to share this discussion on Modi at 20 Dreams Meet Delivery book. This is a very important occasion because for the first time after independence, we have been witnessing the performance of a leader. He is not just a political leader, the Prime Minister of the largest and world's most ancient democracy. He's a statesman. We know the respect that he commands at the international level. And he's a visionary. So if we see the last 20 years of his governance as a leader, we can see the development has been taking place at different levels. Initially at the state of Gujarat, and now in the last 8 years, at the national level. From the earlier leaders, particularly Prime Minister, he is very different. He comes from a very, very ordinary background. He belongs to an extremely backward class. And his family background we all know. So he has risen to the top through education, hard work, commitment, and honesty above all. This is the hallmark of his whole life, the last 70 plus years. And he has been continuously getting elected by people since 2002, the time he entered politics, political electoral arena. He's been continuously getting elected by people. And more than anything else, he is transforming India like never before after 1947. So this sums up his career as a leader of either the state government or the national government. And above all these things, he has changed the way the politics works in this country. Some 7-8 years back, most of us educated people who love this country, people who respect this country, we were all worried, when we will be able to get a good leader who can understand this country and take it forward, away from corruption, towards progress, with the intention of taking India at the global level. And in the last 8 years, it is happening. And he is one leader who has been targeted from the beginning by the Western interests. When the Godhra incident took place, he was targeted. So this is how, in spite of this, the vociferous activities of the vested interest, he has been growing in stature because people understand him and people elect him elections after election. So we are not just discussing a political leader, Prime Minister, but as DC pointed out, he is a phenomenon today, not just in India, at the global level. When the Russian-Ukraine war was happening, of course, students from different countries were studying in Ukraine. Those countries found it difficult to evacuate their students. But when Prime Minister Modi spoke to the Russian president, Putin, he stopped the war for 6 hours. Can you believe it? War was going on, intense war between two countries, neighboring countries, and the Russian president, who is a member of the United Nations Security Council, he stopped the war for 6 hours to let Indians go without any trouble. And using that opportunity, many other countries also took their students away to the border. So this is how the Prime Minister of India today respects command at the international level. So today we have assembled here to listen to 4 other speakers, experts from different fields apart from me, to listen to their views on this particular book. As the friends pointed out, this was a book contributed by 22 eminent people from different walks of life on 5 different broad topics, namely people first, then 2, politics of unity and development, 3rd, Jandan, then 4th, a new paradigm in governance, and 4th, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, India and the world. So on these broad 5 topics, 22 noted people have contributed their thoughts, all eminent people. So from Jaishankar to Arvind Panagiriya to a youngster sport lady like P.V. Sindhu, Devi Shetty, promoter of the Narayana Hridayalaya Hospital, Ajit Doval, the National Security Advisor, Nirban Mishra, who was the Principal Secretary and the PMO of the JDA. So all experts from diverse fields have contributed their thoughts. So we will be listening to the views of 4 experts apart from me. So they will be discussing each of them approximately for 20 minutes. And I think after that we will have question answer. Then I will be summing up. So this is just introductory part. So from my own experience, I can tell about Prime Minister Modi in 2-3 minutes. His development model is unique. That is why people say Gujarat model, Modi model. That 12.5 years when he was the Chief Minister of India, we have witnessed how Gujarat has been transformed through this unique approach. Some of us, we are involved in studying the Indian economy, Indian society from the native perspectives. So one of our areas, fields of study is the small and medium industry cluster. Even though we are from Tamil Nadu, none of the chief ministers from Tamil Nadu or neighboring states noticed that. But in 2003, when Sri Narendra Modi was the chief minister, we got a call from Ahmedabad. So we went there. He asked us whether you would be able to study this kite business. Kite activity, kite manufacturing is not a very important activity. It's just a cottage industry, cottage business. We cannot even call it as an industry, cottage business. So when he asked us, we were surprised. And then we said, yes, when government invites, we are ready to do it. And we were asked to take up a study of kite business. So we took it up in 2003. And then we were asked to produce a report, and in the form of a book also, it was published later. So we was asked to give a report, and every month whenever we visit, the next day at 9 o'clock there will be a meeting with the chief minister. So he will review. For the first time I saw in my own eyes some 19 years back as to how a chief minister, committed chief minister was functioning. 9 o'clock morning meeting. He will take the review. And in our first meeting itself, he appointed a committee of ministers, committee of senior officials to help us. So complete coordination was there. So this was how it was going on. 2003 December, around the second week, we completed this study and gave the final study report to him, draft report, in the form of recommendations also. So I was hesitating because we did not know whether the chief minister would accept it or not. We told him, sir, we took up this study. When we met for the first time, we told you that we don't know Gujarati, so we will be doing all background work, but somebody should do the data collection and other things, which he accepted. So we said, yes, now the study is over and recommendations are before us, but we don't know whether it is 100% true. So it is better that we conduct a workshop, selecting people from various stakeholder communities like kite manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers. So in that meeting, let us propose our recommendations. If all of them accept, then that would be the final. Because we did not visit every place. We visited only 10 places. Immediately he said, yes, we will arrange the meeting. So after 2 weeks it was arranged, we went there. Next day morning, again there was a meeting with the ministers and the officials, and we read the recommendations, and the chief minister said, out of these recommendations, there are ministers sitting there, revenue minister, industry minister, etc. So if they accept, out of your 13 recommendations, whatever is related to them, we will immediately accept. So 9 recommendations were immediately accepted. And then there was a meeting with the stakeholders, and the way it took place, it was completely different. I don't have time, otherwise I would have given to you. So for the first time, we saw a performance. So with the result, The turnover was 30 crores at that time in 2003. Now I believe it is about 900 crores. So a cottage business, small cottage business today is an international business. And today we have this international kite festival in different places. The first kite festival took place in 2004. But now festivals are taking place in Washington, New York, wherever Gujaratis are there. So this is happening. So this is one way of Gujarat model, body model. Small business, very small business. He took efforts to transform it. As a result, the entire business transformed. And the main workers, main people who are working in the kite industry at the bottom level are Muslim women. 70% of the workers are Muslim women. So this we have to understand. Vice Chancellor pointed out inclusiveness. So this is his approach. And whenever he looks at everybody, comes to know about somebody, he will immediately think whether he will be able to utilize his services for the betterment of the country as a whole. I have another experience. There is a very famous archaeologist by name Michel Danilo. He's a Frenchman. He came to Aurobindo Ashram after his engineering degree. Then he chose India as his motherland. So now he has become an Indian. He was in Coimbatore for about 10 years. We were all close friends. But he was also working in the field of education, school education. So we became friends. In 2010, he came and asked me, along with his wife, we are going to Ahmedabad. Will it be possible to get an appointment with the chief minister? We just want to meet him for 2 minutes because we want to congratulate him. And I know because I have Gujarat experience that in those days, chief minister would meet everybody, including the students. Because he would come at the office at 9 o'clock and he will be there till almost 10 o'clock at night. 6 days in a week. That was his work schedule. So I said, it's possible. So we got an appointment with him. He went there to meet him just for 2 to 5 minutes. And the chief minister sat with him for 25 minutes, asking his background and all. Then chief minister said, tomorrow our higher official will come and meet you at your room. So the next day when the senior official went to his room to meet him, he asked, sir, our chief minister would like to invite you to Gujarat to stay here, to take up your studies, at the same time to teach our students and scholars also. So now he is in Gujarat. For the last 6 years, from Coimbatore, he has now gone to Gujarat, and now he is a permanent resident of Gujarat. Now he is teaching archaeology, and government of Gujarat has set up a center for archaeology. He was earlier a member of the Indian Council of Historical Research also. So this is how I have many incidents that I know personally. This is now when he looks at somebody, then he will immediately see whether he or she will be able to contribute something to the society, to the country. If he finds he or she is suitable, then he will involve them in the nation building work. And that is the reason why the nation has been growing. So with this personal experience of the last 20 years, I can tell you that is an outstanding leader. A leader which at least we have never seen before in India in our lifetime. So the way things are going now, we all know that India is going to be a superpower. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. Now we are the third largest economy in the world. We are the fastest growing economy in the world, and we are considered as the most potential nation by many standards, by international agencies, research bodies, multilateral agencies like IMF, World Bank, etc. So it is high time that we discuss about this personality, a unique personality, a phenomenon in our lifetime, and to know about his various dimensions. So with this, I will end my short introduction, and I invite the panelists to present their views. Later, I'll be speaking for about 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thought-provoking insights on the book and your own experience. We go on to the panel discussion. Speaker, Dr. Venkata P.S., Dean School of Legal Studies, Nodal Officer, Unnat Balasathya, and former Dean, School of Commerce and Business Management, will be speaking on the panel discussion as the first resource for legal session.
Most respected presenters, distinguished chief of staff of the Professor Kanada Hovinder, my beloved friend and the registrar of this and judge of Pondicherry University, Professor Anish Kanadanya, Reverend Minister, respected dean, head of the department, teaching and non-teaching staff of the university. At the outset, I thank administration for giving this opportunity to organize this panel discussion on most of the book, 20 and 20 Dreams Made Clear. Today, we are all gathered here to talk about, as our Vice Chancellor has mentioned, it's not politics, but about a individual who has sacrificed his life to transform our country. Transformation has happened in many ways, which we are going to listen to our discussion. It's not about a politician who just think about the next election. It's about a statesman who think about, who work about, burn the midnight fire since the day he took power, he came to power, to see India as a superpower. India as a Vishwaguru, who should guide, be guiding light for the entire world. That is the reason we are assembled here to discuss about a book which comprises a lot of information about how our Prime Minister transformed this country from his own vision, He started this with a political career, not just in 2001 when he took over as the Chief Minister of Gujarat. It is well mentioned in the book that he has done extensive work. He has traveled extensively throughout the country, in fact, throughout the world. In the end of, the 21st chapter, they came to know that even before he took up the Chief Ministership of Gujarat, extensive travel in United States of America. As our external affairs minister has mentioned, when he started briefing about to our Prime Minister about his proposed visit those days in 2014, before he visited America, our PM was explaining him in a better way about the demographics of America. So that's why he is very extensive travel acquaintance with our own nation in other with the rest of the world for developing our country, for transforming our country through his dreams. That's what is the significance of this book. When he took over power, came to power in 2001 as the Chief Minister, before that he was never into any of the politics. Yeah, assumed charge as Chief Minister of Gujarat in 2001 October. One term went on. People thought that he's not going to be re-elected. 2007 he was re-elected. Once again, the entire media thought that he's not going to be given a second chance. He was re-elected in 2012, and there are reasons for this. Not just fluke. People call, the media describes it as a one-time fluke, second-time fluke, and the time fluke. Next time it cannot happen. It's all because of his hard work. The way he was dedicated his life, for transforming Gujarat nation. As our Chief Minister was making a mention about the rice business. It's not only the rice business, the very popular terminology which we heard those days when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat is vibrant Gujarat market. Not one time. We used to have some, Tamil Nadu Investors Festival or Karnataka Investors Festival, something like that. But for the first time, continuously, international investors meet was held in Gujarat. Not only inviting investors, but businessmen. Even countries are invited to Gujarat to develop Gujarat. He was the Chief Minister of Gujarat and spent his whole energy to, because he knows the nuances, what is the socio-economic lifestyle that was given in Gujarat, and he transformed that was visible, that was fixed. During his regime as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, For the entire history of Gujarat after independence, that was the first time Gujarat saw a series of, talking about the state GDP, which we call CSDP. It was the first time in a period of continuous increase in the state GDP when our President PM was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Many issues came, like our Chief Minister was mentioning about like Bhokra issue for that matter. It's a matter of conspiracy which we have, which is even extensively read in the media and in the book. No, it's an international attempt. Even which was maybe with the support of fringe elements in our own country, there is a serious attempt to deframe him because global efforts are there. The geopolitics is there. They keep observing what is happening in a particular country. In fact, I would say the data which is not available with us is available with the international bodies. In some vested interest groups, they know what is happening in each road and each state, each village in our country. So they saw that there is the one individual who has dedicated his life, who is very serious about transforming his state. If he emerges as the Prime Minister of this country, that would be a serious danger, not for us, but for those elements, but for those groups which are working against our Indian interests. That was propagated in such a way that I believe that this is some dangerous happening going to happen in India. 2012 to 2014, during his third term, he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. We never knew that. All along since independence, we know it's not a politics, what I'm just telling the history. From Jawaharlal Nehru, from Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and even other chief ministers in detail for that matter, they were all nominated to the post of Prime Minister. They were not contested in the election, saying that he is going to be the Prime Minister candidate. Only after an election, someone will be, after a parliamentary party discussion, will be made as the Prime Minister for the state, for our country for that matter. He is the first person who was declared. The entire country knew that yes, Narendra Modi is going to be the Prime Minister candidate. He fought the election. Just think, you know what happened in just before 2014. The entire country, the discussion was, oh, a new person has come. He has worked in, he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. They were talking about Gujarat model. They were even comparing, can Gujarat be compared with Tamil Nadu? Can Gujarat be compared with Karnataka? Lot of issues, many discussions came up in the media, academic circles, among the society for that matter. But first time in the history of 50 years after independence, 50 continuous years, particularly 30 years of where the country didn't have a single party majority. First time India got a single party majority, which moved what's open, Bharatiya Janata Party to power, single majority, and that's because a dynamic personality, a statesman who was seriously working, who was thinking for transforming this country. Country gave the country majority, they were having belief on that single individual. You have to closely watch, he was born after independence. All the earlier leaders, they know what happened during the independence movement. I'm also from a freedom family. We know, at least through some, from father, grandfather, he was the one who was born after independence, and think of the situation. A person who came from an unprivileged family, without any, corporate support initially, for that matter, much no popularity for that matter, took up chief ministry of the state. From that state, he was projected as a Prime Minister candidate, and even at that time in 2014, when he made his party to come to power, the media and the entire, there are always a section, there are always a group who said that it's a one-time group, very unfortunate to have to make this country a failure in making by making Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister. The first 5 years, I will start with the way in which his thought process has made change in our family. First thing, he has blocked many of the of unknown bank accounts, unknown areas from where money is flowing into our country, which was used for unethical activities in our country. That has created a good signal in this country. Warnings in our country, the society, that here is a man is very serious about the activities which will disturb the integrity of our country for them. From that day on, you go. Schemes were launched by Professor Narendra Modi, and which helped him to come to power once again in 2019. Those who are talking negative about, say, it was just a chance that he came to power, it was not so. The country has elected him for the second time with increasing majority. When those who are talking negative or let's say ill about his first time election, now they were not having words to talk ill about the way he was elected and why people elected Narendra Modi for the second time to the power. Even in the second time for that matter, we should all understand that he has withstood the COVID crisis. Many of us may be knowing that. We all know that India was on par with the United States and other major 2-3 nations to produce our own vaccine. But from the economic point of view, many countries collapsed. Many countries have collapsed, including USA. The news is USA is entering into a recession once again. In the nearby Sri Lanka, the country economy is absolutely out of order. A country with 140 crore population, such a huge nation, because of our able leadership of our Prime Minister, we are able to withstand maybe whether it is COVID, economic instability, which is created by external forces, whatever it may be. Now, India is marching forward in spite of COVID negative GDP growth of 20%, 20+ percentage. Today, we are marching towards 7+ percentage of GDP growth because of the visionary policies of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So, what is content in this? This whole entire thing was put up in the book called Modi at 20 Dreams Meet Delivery. See, even as Professor said, everyone dreams. Okay. As Abdul Kalam, as our former Prime Minister said, if you wanted to shine like sun, you have to burn like a sun. I see one individual, there are many politicians in our country, part-time politicians in our country. Whenever there is an issue, they take up talk for a week or a month, and then politicians won't be there in the team. But there is one individual in this country who is thinking 24 hours for the development of our country, which is summed up in the book. 22 authors, as I said, 21 authors, 21 chapters, and 5 different topics of this chapter, which talks about the social impact of Modi, starting from our Olympic medalist P.V. Sindhu, a small girl, but Olympic medalist. She has approached a book in a different way from youngsters' point of view. Several aspects, social impact, even I can tell about, starting from our own Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Believe me or not, Swachh Bharat is one of the flagship programs which has reached power of country. Second thing I would go through, I mean, very well said that it's about the electricity, providing of electricity facility to all the households in this country. Road facility, not I'm talking not about the national highways, but to the rural villages of this country. It's a big social impact. Second, the chapter talks about the political impact of money, which is transformation was brought into the political spectrum. See, when you talk about if you even discuss in the book, when you talk about the political ideology, what is the transformation we brought in the political point of view, see, there are politicians, that's why usually I say there is a difference between politician and a statesman. Politicians work for day-to-day politics. Whatever comes up, they talk 2 days, 3 days, they forget about it. And people also forget about it. But as far as our PM Modi is concerned, he sticks on to his political ideology. One of the best examples is that maybe it requires a lot of political will, meaning that many politicians lack that. What is about the changes he has brought down in Jammu and Kashmir for that matter? Lots of disturbance. Even now, it doesn't mean that the state has been fabricated. It has printed the federal setup of the country. Not so. There is a promise that it is going to be a state again once the problems are resolved. But it requires a political will which is not there in this country for the past 30 years. Coming to the third bunch of articles on the economic aspects of Modi, economic reforms for the Modi. Again, a lot of developments have come in our economy, from the economic point of view. Just now I was talking about with our chief guest in an informal discussion. He said, the person who knows whom to be brought into the power, and talking about the administration from the economic point of view, you are talking from the whom to be appointed as the Reserve Bank, governor of the Reserve Bank of India, and many other aspects. Our Prime Minister he decided what to happen in this country because he was never thinking about a short period, he was thinking about a very long period. Several aspects. That is the reason why whenever a new policy change comes into anything for that matter, be it a small education institution administration or a big country for that matter, when there used to be an existing policy, when some disturbance for a particular purpose happens in that particular society or economy for that matter, small disturbances will be there, but those things will get fade away in the long run and you will see prosperity. Okay, that is what is happening today in our country because of the economic policies of our Prime Minister. And the fourth aspect is about the governance model of our Prime Minister. The way he governs, that was mentioned by the chief guest, it is unique. The entire Delhi administration, which I know everyone knows that we visited Delhi earlier for our project or any purpose for that matter. We know Delhi worked for 3 hours. The entire administration worked for 3 hours. Even if you enter at 11 o'clock in the morning, no one will be there in the office. You will agree with me. My personal experience, your personal experience. 3:30 in the afternoon, no one will be there in the office. You know why? What was the system that got developed over a period of time? Because no one was interested in the which means Delhi. I'm talking about the capital of our country. But today, because Prime Minister works 24 hours, not me. The authors are mentioning that the entire system has changed. We got adapted to the Modi model of working. That's why they use it is now the idea of Modi. Idea of Modi has gone. Now we are in the state of phenomena of Modi, as our Vice Chancellor has mentioned. So changes are happening, and which is well documented in this book. And the last aspect is about how India looks at it. I mean, how the world looks at India. The last 5 chapters, very interesting writing by our present National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, who was with Vivekananda Kendra for a long time, and our ex-First Minister, Mr. Jayashankar for this matter. Very quite interesting reading. I completed reading the book. I suggest you all to read the book because especially in the last 6 chapters, because the new politician, compared with Narendra Modi, can run this country internally. As said by Amit Shah in his chapter in the first bunch of articles. But it requires visionary thought process to protect our country from external elements. I never knew that. But 2 days before I must knew that. Only after going through what is written by Sri Ajit Jawar and Sri Jaishankar, I came to know the way in which, we were protected from our external enemies, from that experience, from the so-called experience. It may not happen once again. China has to think 10 times even before stepping in their single field for that matter. The surgical threat, which we all know, Pakistan has to think 100 times for that matter. The economy is going to collapse. The next 3 months, don't think how did it happen? Just imagine it is not absolutely 100% because of the internal things in Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Because of our own, the country which we administer, we administer our country, automatically they are getting. So, what I wanted to sum up is that the 20 years of the political life, the person who was in power, not defeated even for a single time. 5 times he fought election. Each time he got elected with a good majority, with increased vote share for that matter, and it is a democracy. Nowhere in the world we are living in a liberal democracy. We have freedom of speech, that's why we are speaking today. We have freedom of expression. But many democracies which claim so do not have. In such a democracy, social media today for that matter. Anyone can write anything, even I am very active in social media. In such a situation, it is not easy to elect or someone to get elected just like that to come to power. Which means we in this country has elected every person, a statesman continuously for all this time. And I'm sure this is Modi 20. Dreams meet delivery. Dreams meet delivery. Modi 40 will be there. Dreams meet delivery. And India will be superpower. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thought-provoking insights on the book. We move on to the online presentation. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. John the Master. It's my privilege to introduce the eminent speaker, Dr. Zibamale Venezuela, served as the renowned expert on sustainable development, with over 30 years of experience in the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Vienna, Austria. Served in various capacities and eventually retired as the principal advisor to the Director General of the UNIDO. To add to his credentials, served as the recipient of several awards at state and national levels. To mention a few, served was awarded the Professional Excellence Award by the Auckland-based Inter-Usement Business Association in recognition of his great contribution to the international community. Also the recipient of the Global Excellence Award given by Global Indian Association. In 2017, it was given the recipient of the Millennium Award by the Casey Foundation. The Vienna-based Kerala community gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of his work. On behalf of the organizing team of Pilgrim University of Tamil Nadu, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Honorable Vice Chancellor, am I audible? Is it clear? Okay. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Tamil Nadu, Professor M. Krishnan, esteemed Chief Guest of Honor, Professor E. Kanakasabhabadi, distinguished speakers, and dear participants. I am extremely grateful to the organizers for giving me this unique opportunity to be part of this great discussion on the book titled Modi at 20, Dreams Meet Delivery. I will take the liberty of spending 1 minute on each chapter to reflect on the content contained therein in the light of what I saw across countries and continents. Let me start with chapter 1, why Modi is the undisputed youth icon. I met our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, in Kanyakumari in my village 5 years ago. And every time after that, when I see him on the screen, I find in him further youthfulness. My feeling is that he is growing younger and younger as he grows old, because he is adding life to years and not years to life. Reference is made to holistic development in this chapter, which is very good. In fact, if you look at the contours and tenets of the new education policy, each policy intervention, each program is attuned to the total personality development of young boys and girls. And the tinkering lab at the school level and the innovation mission at the university level, they are all designed, coined to strengthen the total personality of the so-called holistic personality. If the author had made a reference to the role of the new education policy in strengthening the holistic personality of the youth, this would have added to the completeness and correctness of this chapter. Now I move to the next chapter. New grammar of women empowerment. Great poet Bharati talked a great deal about and wrote a great deal about the equality of women and men, comparing them with the right eye and left eye. So among the two eyes, you cannot discriminate. The two eyes are equal. But our Prime Minister bestowed a very high degree of confidence on women and gave opportunity to demonstrate their superiority over men occasionally. You can see he made women as the Minister for Commerce and Trade, then promoted us as Minister for Defense, Women Minister for Defense. So the degree of confidence bestowed upon. And then he made her the Finance Minister, which is the nerve center. The Ministry of Finance is the nerve center of Indian economy. And she got enough opportunity and very systematically, scientifically, professionally demonstrated her superiority. We are seeing. Even yesterday in the parliament, the way he carried compelling reasons and convincing arguments and perfect logical sequence of thoughts to just answer the frontal attack made by critics. I think the whole country appreciated that. So I think the credit goes to our Honorable Prime Minister for his decision to give equal importance and some occasionally more importance to women, because he bestows a very high degree of confidence. Chapter 3 is titled The Success of People-Centric Approach. See, the success of people-centric approach depends on interventions which are underpinned by proper sensitization of each intervention, each policy intervention, each institutional assistance should have proper sensitization and right target beneficiaries and get the local people empowered in the process and make tangible impacts. Tangible impact means you should be able to see the impact and compact through your eyes. That's called tangible impact. And sustainability. Sustainability is the most important aspect of any intervention. And then you will be able to spread the benefits of growth. This is what is called people-centric approach. A country may just generate a high rate of growth. Take the example of African countries. When the commodity prices go up globally, they all grow very fast. And the growth is to the tune of 7 to 9% in some countries, because they are all primary commodity exporters. They are at the bottom of the ladder of value addition. They just export primary commodity, export cocoa and buy imported chocolates. Their own, based on their own cocoa. This is, take any commodity in Africa. It's actually commodity tragedy. So during the high prices of when the global prices for commodities go up, they grow. But that growth based on commodity price pushed many more millions into the poverty trap. It is actually, the evidence is furnished in the World Development Report published by the World Bank. that commodity-led growth pushed many more millions into the poverty trap. But on the other hand, you look at the development experience of newly industrializing countries and emerging economies, they are all climbing the ladder of value addition. So the growth generated by value-added products, generation of value-added products will lift many more millions out of the poverty trap. In simple terms, if we are not able to spread the benefits of growth, there will be growth without development. And then chapter 4, Modi, the Bhagirath Bharayasi, the famous king. The famous king is known for bringing Ganga to earth. And if you read the chapter, you will be totally convinced that Modi is capable of bringing Ganga to Kanyakumari. Now I move to the next chapter, Democracy, Delivery, and the Politics of Hope, written by Sri Amit. Now, this is a brilliant chapter, to be honest. When I read the chapter, I was reminded of two cruel statements made by two eminent persons on democracy. Lee Kuan, the former premier of Singapore, who converted a fishing village into a global powerhouse, commercial powerhouse. 3 days before breathing his last, he said, for development, there is no need for democracy. I was stunned to silence when I read the statement. Very, very cruel statement on democracy. What he said was, you first use highly regulated framework and even dictatorship, good dictatorship which can ensure good governance. Create some level of education among the people, achieve some level of development, and life should be no longer the fight for basics. Then he introduced democracy. That was his ideological conviction. That's why he made that statement. For development, there is no. And then Paul Collier, the famous Oxford University professor, who wrote the famous book, The Bottom Billion. He was totally fed up with the rampant corruption in Africa. At one point, he made a very bad statement about the whole thing. And in some countries, corruption is under the table. In some countries, it is over the table. In some countries, the table itself is corrupt. And I was in one of the African countries. I will not mention the name of the country. I just asked one guy, because I had a very bad experience at the airport with an immigration officer. He demanded something, and I said, I want to talk to your supervisor. He said, gentlemen, my supervisor will be more expensive. Better you deal with me and go. And when I told him that a friend of mine, don't you have honest people in this country? He said, yes, we do have honest people. They are a little more expensive. This is what he said. So this has seen this type of corruption. So he made a statement that he would prefer a good dictator who can ensure good governance to democratically elected corrupt persons. This is what he said. If a good dictator can conceptualize, formulate, implement, audit, and monitor excellent policy instruments with a high degree of transparency and accountability, making indelible impact on the welfare of the people, he would prefer that person to democracy. Now, why I am saying it? That the author says democracy should deliver, and politics should inculcate hope. And you all will agree with me, there is a strong determination on the part of the government, led by Modi ji, to create create a very strong infrastructural base now, excellent utility services. And we would see to it that there is no longer fight for basics. And he is trying to do this not with the dictatorship, but along with the democracy, using democracy as an effective means. This is the difference. The chapter is very well written, and I think it is worthy of appreciation. And then comes changing elections and electioneering. I think in 1987, Modi was appointed by the High Command of BJP to be in charge of the Ahmedabad municipal election. They never won there. And during the election campaign, he somehow convinced the leaders, BJP leaders, saying that if you can just tell the people, if we come to power, we will ensure good governance. We will change the governance system of the Ahmedabad municipality. And he won the election. That was his first experience. In fact, when he assumed office as chief minister at the request of Vajpayee, he was not even an MLA. And drawing on his rich experience in series of election campaigns, he really removed money and muscular power as the key determinants of winning election. We are all witnessing this. And the next chapter is thinking big. It is important to make optimistic claims about our potential. Sometimes people say the pessimist is an optimist with experience. No. And if someone looks at the half a glass of water, the pessimist will say is half empty. The optimist will say half full. Everything depends on the approach. Somebody was sent to Africa once to assess the market potential for chappals, a company producing chappals. And that guy came and told the company that, oh, it's impossible to sell chappals there because they don't wear chappals. It happened in the 1940s. And then an optimist went there. He said, it is true that they don't wear chappals, but if we are able to capture even 5% of the market, make 5% of the people, we would spend millions of dollars. And the company followed the advice of the optimist, and they were spending money like anything. So what, in optimism about what? Optimism about our potential. Hitherto, what we have achieved is definitely not proportionate to our potential. We all know that. India encompasses a huge reservoir of resources. You name any, it's there. But our performance is so far hitherto not proportionate to potential. So three challenges are there. Our challenge is to convert our resource-based comparative advantages into competitiveness. Then we have to convert our commodities into value-added products, high value-added products. See, products can be classified into primary products, low-tech products, medium-tech products, high-tech products, and sophisticated products. High-tech products and sophisticated products account for 87% of manufacturing, global manufacturing value added and global trade. If this is the global reality, the question is, you want to be part of it as out of context. So we have to add value to the product. And the next challenge is to target communities, get people empowered in the development process, and spread the impact of that. So in order to address these challenges, the new approach is we not only try to convert our resource-based comparative advantages into competitiveness, but also try to enhance our global competitiveness, even without resource-based comparative advantage, using human ingenuity as the infinite source of wealth creation. And the government is very much at it. And then next one is towards prosperous India. See, prosperity is essentially a function of policy choice. Policy interventions will have to serve as new growth impulses, rekindling new and dynamic sources of growth. And that's why some countries, after the oil shock, economists predicted that the growth prospects of all developing countries would be completely doomed. It was only after the oil shock many countries emerged, many developing countries emerged as newly industrializing countries. And it was only after the oil shock we achieved a high degree of energy efficiency. We achieved economic efficiency, ecological compliance, and social inclusion. I still remember I used to drive a Labrador of 1920s vintage when I was a lecturer. It was covering only 7 kilometers per liter of petrol. Today, the two-wheeler covers 70 kilometers per liter of petrol. So this is efficiency. So there should always be a crisis. Without crisis, you cannot find solutions. So we have to make optimistic claims about our potential and make and even try to enhance the global competitiveness of our products without resource-based comparative advantages, even using human ingenuity as the infinite source of wealth creation, as demonstrated by Singapore. Okay, next one is micro revolution, the improvement of livelihoods. Right. I think micro enterprises will flourish only when institutional technical assistance and business support services are rendered by the government as free good. If you look at the micro enterprises, small and micro enterprises in industrially well developed locations, and look at the role of the regional development agencies, Wales Development Agency, Scottish Enterprise. And these regional development agencies in dynamic industrial locations are virtually babysitting enterprises. Babysitting, when I said that, you have to render technical assistance and business support services and market intelligence network in order for them to thrive in an internationally competitive environment. In an internationally competitive environment, it is not the question of the survival of the biggest or smallest, but the fastest. Only those who keep pace with the rapidly changing facets of processing, design, and marketing will survive. Others will fall apart. So now I just move to the next one, private enterprise and nation building. There should be no overbelief on private enterprise because private sector misbehaves. The misbehavior of Lexman Brothers triggered global economic crisis in 2007 and 2008. We know that because private sector is always tempted to misbehave. What is needed is market-based public activism to promote the private sector, or market-based public activism to right the wrong. Look at what is happening to G5 auction. The money we are spending. How much? I think it's more than 1,56,000 yesterday, something like that, crores, compared to what happened to the previous one. So here, the market-based public activism is effectively institutionalized to right the wrong. And this is very well captured here. And then environmental sustainability and economic development. Now, it is empirically proved that economic efficiency is compatible with ecological compliance. Now, what is economic efficiency? You produce optimal output at the least cost combination of factors of production. Okay, you use the incidence of technical progress to achieve efficiency gains. And you thrive in a competitive environment only through efficiency gains. But when you turn out to products complying with the international standards and quality control norms, you demonstrate efficiency, and that is totally compliant with, consistent with the ecological compliance. And it is also corroborated by social inclusion. All these things will eventually lead to wealth creation. And then the next one is Modi, the man India trust in a crisis. Oh, the new paradigm of governance. I'm sorry, this is the section, and the second chapter under this section is Modi, the man India trust in a crisis. The trust on the leadership is very, very, very important. A dynamic leader wins the approbation of the people. Sometimes a country may be blessed with Mr. Perfect as its leader. This happened in India. I will not mention names. Mr. Perfect, an eminent economist, very brilliant person, as his leader. If everybody under Mr. Perfect is imperfect, I would say Mr. Perfect is perfectly imperfect. A leader should have perfect command over all his colleagues. And the zero tolerance for inefficiency and corruption should be clearly demonstrated by punishing those who make mistakes and encouraging those who perform. This is leadership. And we are all witness to this. Then chapter 13 is agriculture, good but can be better. India's struggle to achieve rapid economic transformation is apt to be won or lost in the countryside. I don't know to convince you. The good thing about agricultural development now is highly qualified persons. And there is a trend now, highly qualified persons who were holding coveted positions, very coveted positions in big organizations. After retirement, they all go back to their villages and convert the family land into dynamic forms. Not organic, now they use a different word, biodynamic organic forms. I know two friends in Tirunelveli district. One is owning 600 acres of dynamic farm, and another one, I think, 500 acres of dynamic farm. It's all traditional lands, owned by purchased by the great grandfather and the parents owned it, and they're applying all types of new technologies there. They opt for digitization, then they go for digitalization, then they go for digital transformation of and the agricultural practices. Now they apply science and technology. That's the most important thing. I will give you one example. Take the example of oil palm. Oil palm was originally transplanted from West Africa to Malaysia. The palm oil tree, okay, this oil palm tree is still a tragedy in West Africa. Productivity is low, value addition is low, etc. etc. In Malaysia, which was transplanted from Africa, in Malaysia, it is a potential source of wealth creation. So what is the difference? Why Malaysia is doing better in palm oil than West Africa? Because Malaysia applied science and technology to each aspect of farm development and product development. Farm and product development. By making simple improvements in the management of the farms, they dramatically increase the productivity of each plant. So this is already happening in India. Highly qualified, highly educated people are running big farms. Even film actors, lose their chance. They are all developing farms and they apply science and technology. Now, when I say that digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation, these are all outcome of innovative management. Sometimes people think that these things lead to innovative management. No, these processes are outcome of innovative management. So there is a need to amplify capabilities and skills at the innovative management level to make digitalization, and digital transformation. Yes. You want to say something?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Some of the panel experts, they're telling that they can increase control with it. Like,
I can finish it immediately, no problem. I'm through. You can go ahead with the next program, no problem. I'm through.
it's like the panel experts.
Yeah. My task is to review the book. I wanted to spend 1 minute on the content of each chapter. Okay, I will wait up now. Okay, and now to achieve rapid economic transformation, what is needed is a unique blend of vision and action. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Fortunately, Modi ji has a unique blend of that, and the economy and the society benefit a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring talk and enlightening words. Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Jack Welch. We would like to invite the next eminent speaker, Professor Amresh Samandaraya, Registrar of the University to the session. Sir is presently working as a professor in the Department of Economics from Yale University, with more than 2 decades of rich experience in teaching and research in economics. Sir has also worked as an economist in the Reserve Bank of India during the period 1999 to 2010. Sir's teaching and research domains include economics, money and banking, growth theory, the Indian economy, monetary policy, banking, development, and inter-regional disparity. Sir has published many research papers in the professional journals in the field of economics and finance. Sir has also written a book on the context of monetary policy in India. Sir was the recipient of the Best Teacher Award from Undisputed University for the consecutive years 2011 to 2015 and 2018. Third session.
Respected Vice Chancellor, National it is Professor Kanagashwar, my fellow panel members of today's session, librarian Mr. Parmeshwaran, secretaries and historians, faculty members of UGM, dear students. At the outset, I express my thankfulness to UGM, particularly Professor Velmurugan, for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity to have this interaction with you. Given that a couple of panel members before me has already spoken, particularly with Dr. Velmurugan, he's a teacher of commerce, I'm a teacher of economics, we have similarities in our thinking process. So there could be some limitations, but I'll try to avoid. I'm particularly thankful to Dr. Jeff Malai. He has covered the book in terms of chapters. So initially I was planning that way, so I'll not do that. And let me cover similar points in my own way, in my own perspective. Okay. Honorable Vice Chancellor and the delegates, they had mentioned Mr. Modi, our beloved Prime Minister. He is not an individual, he is a phenomenon. I agree with them. Mr. Modi is a phenomenon because he is basically combinations of many things. Combination of many things. He is a true politician. He is a very competent economist. He is a master strategist. He is an extremely patriotic Indian. So, combining these three and these three good things, he is definitely a phenomenon. And I like to touch upon those things as we go on. So basically, the transformation from very humble background to the Prime Minister of India, not only for one term, for 2 terms as of now, and we don't know he can get a third term also. He's definitely amazing. I think all of us accept it. If you remember, prior to 2004, we had accepted that the coalition form of government is here to stay. The UPA, the NDA, right? We never thought any single political, I mean, at least I never thought, and my friends were we never thought in 2004, any political party in India in the near future is going to rule India as a single party. Of course, now BJP is having coalition with other independent form also, but it is not necessary. On their own, as a single political party, they have majority. So this transformation from a humble Indian who, father was selling tea in the railway platform, and if I read things correctly, his mother was a household help. So from that level to becoming Prime Minister 2 terms in the prevailing circumstances, definitely amazing. Now, of course, it has not happened like that, like a matter of law or just a coincidence. Lots of hard work and the efforts of this individual, his qualities, as I briefly touched upon, contributed for this. When we are discussing about, prior to, before I go to Modi, Mr. Modi, I'm discussing about Modi at 20. Given the way life has transformed for Mr. Modi and many other amazing Indians, few of them I name, when I think about them, I feel very proud about our country. I feel very proud about our system. Facilitated many, individuals from modest background, different kind of like Honorable Vice Chancellor was mentioning. when Anna was delivering some convocation talk or something in Madurai University, he was standing with a broken bicycle and listening to him. So that experience perhaps is not him, many of us might have realized. You think of Mr. Abdul Kalam, you think of Mr. Modi, you think of present President of India, Madam Draupadi Murmu. Each one of them have come from very humble background and reached this level. So basically, the Indian political system, Indian economic institutions, okay, the system as a whole has ensured that even people with humble background can achieve high education, can become successful. So the opportunities, okay, which are necessary are provided unless as long as somebody is interested in hard work and wants to excel in life. So, those are the small things which sometimes you don't realize. This, the traveling of 75 years of India from 1947 to today, and today India becoming a very important sort of, economic power and in terms of political position, international level, India has assumed significant importance. This happened because of our inclusive political and economic system. Now, coming to Mr. Modi, if you analyze his life, I think moving from, how to convert a crisis to an opportunity. I understand now I'm thinking about the last and you have but one couple of important things which I'm pointing out. If you observe those things, I think you will learn something about Modi, why he is phenomenon today. So one thing is, he has mastered the art of converting a crisis to opportunity. As Professor Jagan has pointed out, in 2001 October, Mr. Modi assumed the office of Chief Minister of Gujarat. Remember what happened prior to that? On January 26, 2001, there was a massive earthquake which devastated large part of Gujarat, and many people suffered out of that. And there are some issues related to how the government responded to this sort of calamity. And Modi assumed office in 2001 October. Many of the people who enjoyed my friends from Gujarat, many of them say, after Modi assumed office, he had undertaken the rehabilitation work, managed it so well, people started appreciating his efforts. See, natural calamity, this crisis, of course, we cannot avoid. But then, after that, how we respond to those crises are important. And the first successful story, how Modi became popular in Gujarat in his initial days, was his response to this crisis. And the recent one which all of us have witnessed, you think of this COVID pandemic couple of years ago. Entire world, the developed world, you take US, you take Europe, they have better infrastructure, they have better capability. I'm talking about financial capability. Still, they proportionately suffered heavily if you count the number of deaths, casualties because of COVID-19. The loss of US and Europe is proportionately very high. And we, despite having poor medical infrastructure, highly populated country, highly high density, despite that, our sort of damage was very limited. So this is again another example which all of us can realize just we witness this. So when there is issue to choose between life and livelihood, the way it was balanced. Initially, of course, life was even important. Gradually, livelihood, the importance of livelihood was given higher weightage. And the way he managed, I think many of us will appreciate the way he responded to the crisis. And lastly, today we are out of the crisis. So now, I said when we are talking about Modi as a phenomenon, we have to see him as economist, as a politician, as a patriot Indian, I see where I look at him. So as economics, when I look at him, I think it is not written in this book, but in my own way, the way I analyze, I think he has understood the basic problem of Indian economy at present and how to address it. See, all of us know in the post-war period, in 1990s, we adopted economic reform. After that, our growth has been very good. We are growing 6+% on an average. And, in terms of industrial progress, in terms of the services sector, we have been doing very well. But the problem of the post-reform period, when we think of as economics, there are two problems which are matter of concern. One is related to income inequality. Even in our economy, the services sector is growing at a very rapid rate, and this contributes to close to 50% of GDP. So people engaged in a services sector, like the finance, banking, tourism, or hotel, restaurant, transport, etc. Their income is growing close to at the rate of 8%. Industry, again, it employs another quarter of workforce and close to quarter of output it produces, so large balance. But this sector is growing at a rate of 6%. Whereas agriculture, this sector employs close to 50% of the workforce, and it is growing at the rate of 3 to 4%. So because of these structural facts, what happens? There is growing income inequality. The people engaged in services industry, their income is growing at a rapid rate. Agriculture, not able to catch up. So this is one major issue, major problem of the Indian economy and the post-reform period. The main architect of economic reform, Dr. Manmohan Singh himself has accepted that the post-reform period Indian growth is not inclusive. If you see the policies which Modi government has introduced since 2004, if you ask the mainstream economists, they say, we cannot slow down agricultural services, we cannot slow down industry. So actually, those people whose income is growing at a faster rate, we did not slow down their income growth. But what we can do is, from a humanitarian point of view, from a political maturity point of view, we have to ensure that minimum services, minimum facilities are basically provided to the people at the, at the bottom. So most of the policies, when you think of Ayushman Bharat, you think of Ujjwala Yojana, you think of various transfers to the farmers and also DBT. Okay, all these measures, I think the government has kept in mind that you ensure some minimum things to the people at the bottom. Okay, as I am repeating, you did not slow down the people's income, the income of the people, which is growing at faster rate, but ensure people at the bottom are getting the minimum services, the minimum facilities. That very tactfully this government has introduced. Okay. Then I'm thinking of GST. This, how much that? 5 minutes. Oh, right. So there is goods and services tax which was introduced, I think around 2016. In politics, of course, there have been many critics. But if you ask a serious economist, I don't think there will be anybody who will be criticizing this. In fact, I appreciate this government for being so courageous to come up with this policy reform, which has been contemplated some 10-15 years before its introduction. But a government gave courage to introduce it. Its benefits, I think, time will not be adequate to explain its benefits. What I'll suggest is, what I can briefly tell is, earlier we had many forms of tax, like the excise tax on production, we have sales tax or tax on buying the things like consumption, there's operating tax on transportation, and these taxes headed in different states and different, the government was choosing which products to tax, which products to not tax. So if you are a producer, really you have to create a complicated tax system. Now with the introduction of GST, across the country, it is one tax rate for the same products. There is no octroi, and there is better tax compliance because at different stages of taxation, things can be monitored, things can be accounted. Okay, so this is a theory. I think I say in the tax system for us the most significant tax reforms in the Indian economic system, which this government has introduced, and whatever it was introduced, it has helped in revenue augmentation in some years. This doesn't give us results, fully, right? Quickly it will have bad impact. Quickly it will be, making many people unhappy because, when a producer, a seller, a retailer who was not paying tax earlier, now you insist on to pay tax, people are not happy with that. And generally, it comes with high inflation for popularity. So these are not popular things, what he ensured, because there is a interest of the government, interest of the economy for the longer term. Demonetization people talk about, of course, whether the demonetization really helps the economy or not, there will be debate, and perhaps not many will agree that it had beneficial impact the way it was desired. But see the intention. The intention was to reduce corruption. The intention was to, make income accountable, ensuring most of the transactions are coming through banking channel, right? This resolve that I'll do something for my country for, despite having some backlash in terms of popularity, in terms of populist policies, he ensured he introduced. And then in economics, of course, there are many things, but I will not count given that I have it's a time. One of us will agree that in terms of the foreign affairs policy, external sector policy, this government has done this, I think, big thing in the last 15, 20 years, which I can remember. I think first, when he took over the office in 2004, he invited people from our neighboring countries, that countries. This was a master strategy. The strategy of starting from a neighbor, he never thought. I think years before his visit to Bhutan, no Indian Prime Minister visited. Last 20 years, no Prime Minister visited Israel. Maybe these numbers which I'm telling may not be appropriate, but maybe nearly that. The way strategic partnerships built around all superpowers, whether it is US, Israel, Russia, Japan, Australia, so all of us will appreciate it. And the way he was undertaking this foreign trade, using his personal touch, using all information as one of my ministers was telling, even he knew better than the foreign affairs minister about the the context, the background, and the issues related to foreign affairs partner. So that was definitely appreciable. But then, if you remember, he was combining 3-4 countries together. So, and most of the time, he was not staying in hotel. Say, for example, he has to travel from Germany to here, the night he will spend on the flight. So, using minimum money, using minimum time, he was trying to live maximum out. That we realized when there was a political strike, when there was Holocaust strike, we realized how people didn't open their mouth and how the Abhinandan came back to India within a couple of days. And earlier the Indians were taking months if somebody is captured in Pakistan to get it back. So all these incidents reflect his success as a master strategist for external affairs policies that all of us know. Yeah. Yeah. Even from politics point of view, making BJP as the biggest, I think, party in the world, political party in the world. For that, he is either actively involved or giving appropriate direction. And couple of things, one incident generally, I come to my mind. The strategic decision in the long-term interest of the party. If you remember when Mr. Anand Kumar, leader from Karnataka, he passed away, giving his contribution to party, okay, and the emotion of that time, everybody expected maybe Mr. Anand Kumar, why he will get an opportunity to contest from that constituency. But the ticket was not given to Mr. Anand Kumar, it was given to Terrorism Surya. So you see the maturity and the strategy in the decision. So the recognition of the merit, another Surya may be a young politician, not known, maybe father is not a big man, but think that this person can be useful for the party for next 30-40 years. BJP under Modi was taking this strategic decision, recognizing it. So this is one example. But you can think of all examples, all decisions. Presently also, we deciding why Madam Momo will be given this ticket. You think of the strategic decision, how it influences the political equation of the region, okay, and how it is going to see. One is recognizing the rating. This is one particular thing I think none of the speakers told you, focus for us identified. But one particular thing, earlier all Padma Shri awards, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Bhushan, etc. You know, they used to be elite, most of them. Okay, and people from Luti and Delhi used to be deciding things. But if you see last 5-10 years, most of these, and many of these awardees are from very humble background. Some Kannada of Kerala, some Kannada of Jharkhand, you know, somebody only known to that region. Their contribution to the society is recognized. So I think now we have put in a place a system where merit, real contribution at the ground level is recognized. This is definitely very encouraging for the nation as a whole, and this is also making BJP as a stronger party. And Article 370. There are many, so you know, there's many unresolved problems of India historically, okay, are actually resolved by this government. That shows its, you know, sort of patriotism and its boldness to take some decisions. And Article 370 is one of them, right? I think anybody, at least I never thought that in our lifetime, given the political sensitivity of the issue, it can be built, right? This government has the courage to take a decision. Definitely there will be challenges when you take a decision like this, and this was an unresolved problem for a long time. Defense sector. Prior to this, BJP came to power, and BJP under Modi came to power in 2004. I think the spending on sort of, you know, strengthening the Indian Air Force, Navy was perhaps not that encouraging. Modi ensured that, you know, appropriate amount of appropriate assets for Indian defense system are procured, and the long-term interest of Indian defense is taken care. And those people who were critical of that, today they might have realized in the context of Russia-Ukraine war, if they're not militarily powerful, some neighbor, some aggressor can, you know, completely disrupt your economic progress and the lives of the people. And those are the mature decisions taken by the government to strengthen the Indian defense system so that we can defend ourselves from foreign aggressors. So overall, given the limited time which I had, I'll be definitely putting Modi as, you know, given his sort of, you know, contribution as a chief minister, as the prime minister of the country. I think one of the very highly rated statesman leader which India produced during our post-independence era. I think today, even when it's leading, we are appreciating so much. And when it becomes history, definitely the appreciation will grow very good. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for your in-depth insight on this. What Lahu said, a leader is the best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, there is a say, which is our job. We have with us a tremendous visionary, Professor Ashish K. Verma, the director of Prosperous Institute of Management. Has more than 3 decades of experience in academia and industry. Some contributions include the section of teaching, research, and industry consulting in the digital business and technology adoption space. So, business domain includes digital business strategy, digital marketing, IT, and marketing. Is also the advisor of Confederation of Indian Industries, the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tamil Nadu State Council, NACO, and of Automotive Engineers in designing the key concept norms and policy recommendations. With immense pleasure, we welcome you, sir, to this session. Sir.
So thank you so much, and good friend Dr. Velmurugan for inviting me over. and respected Dr. Krishnan, Professor Kannada Shabapati, Dr. Purapanai, Samantare, Mr. J.R. Karna, Professor Sulochana, Professor Nagaraj. So, thank you so much for calling me over. It's a great privilege to be at CUTN event, and CUTN is very close to my heart. I really wish I could be there in person, and but anyway, so yesterday we had a meeting, and today also have a meeting, so that's why I could not be there in person. But I always love being at CUTN. So hopefully, very soon I'll make another visit and all. So this is a very interesting topic, Modi at 20. And so the character Modi is a very, very enigmatic character. Like you can love Modi, you can hate Modi, but you cannot ignore. I have not seen anyone ever ignoring Modi. Either they will be Modi hater, or they will be hot, or they will be loving Modi. So there is no third option. So that is the kind of character that Modi has. And usually we do not like any political character, but Modi is the only political character perhaps is the most loved one, not just India, but across the globe, even outside those who do not have any direct connect with India. They are also fond of Modi, and Modi has wants to be a very powerful leader. So, but what are the characteristics? I just briefly went through this book, Modi and 20, beautifully architected. But why are we reading this book? Is this book to just to eulogize Modi? Is this book just to kind of build brand Modi? No. The purpose of this conference, the purpose of this review of this book, Modi at 20, is to identify what are the traits of Modi, what are the leadership style of Modi that makes him so interesting. Okay, that's make people sit up and look up to us. Okay, so today India is getting a very place of eminence globally. It is again thanks to Modi's policies and Modi's diplomacy, the way the country is being steered. Just look at this. There have been so many US sanctions in the past, but when this Russia and Ukraine war starts, India is not condemning Russia, but at the same time, so US is not able to impose any sanction on India. So India is also getting those anti this missile that is 400 anti-missile system, and they are deploying it. So India's diplomacy, India's policies, the way they are doing it is great. So it's not a question of appreciating Modi, praising Modi, or building brand Modi, or being a Modi hawk. Maybe we have nothing to do with politics. I personally have nothing to do with politics. But what happens, I try to see some of the traits of Modi when it comes up very clearly from this book, and how, as an educator, and how, as an administrator of an academic institute, we can take a lead. So, like in 2017 Independence Day, Modi said that we have to leave this Chalta Hai attitude. We have to think of Badal Sakta Hai. So what Modi said, that okay, this is how it has been going, so let us follow it. So Modi said, let us drop that attitude and let us have the attitude of Badal Sakta Hai. That means we can make a change. That is what Modi said. So this is what we have to keep in mind, that the fearlessness, how to bring the change in it. Have we brought a change in our academic institution? Maybe as a departmental head, maybe as an administrator. Let me tell you a few things that we have brought about in Bharatiya Institute of Management. So because let's to reflect on ourselves, that how I'm implementing it at my workplace, in my own personal life, in my official life, then it will be meaningless exercise of doing this. So here, like at BIM, the entire purchase process, we have made it completely transparent. Completely transparent. The digitalization, when we talk about Modi's digitalization, UPI. Now UPI is so popular that Google has recommended US that you can look at the features of UPI. So today this digital payment, 2021, our digital payment is 4 times the digital payment that is happening in China. So today we are number 1 in terms of digital transactions that is happening. Okay. Whereas few years ago, that means about 2014 and 15. So we are nowhere close to what China was. So how do I apply this kind of transparency in my own institute? In my own institute, we do not buy anything from the third party, not even the books that we prescribe. We buy only from Amazon, Flipkart, or directly from publishers. There are nexus between publishers and the local booksellers. So I have broken that. Similarly, these computers and all these accessories we directly buy from Apple or Dell or HP. So if Modi is showing the transparency at the center, then how do I show transparency at my own level? So Modi is talking about this Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. There's a women empowerment. Modi is talking about women empowerment. And so many things he has introduced, like education for the girl child, abolition of triple talaq, providing cooking gas connection to all households. And in the last 5 years, the median number of women in Indian board has doubled. The median number of women on Indian board has doubled. Okay. So when Modi is doing all this empowerment, what are we doing in our own place? So we have a strong Vishaka committee in place. And so far in the last 38 years, we never filed any internal complaints committee report from the district collector. But from this year onwards, we have started doing it and there is no incident. So can we ensure that there is zero tolerance to any abuse of women and exploitation of women? And I'm so happy to say that this time the number of girl children joining our program is the maximum, is the highest so far. We have an intake of 120 students. About 50 of them are the girl children, and this is the highest so far. So this is how we have to go through this book, Modi at 20, and see that how do I apply it in my own life, in my family, and also in the society and in the workplace that we are in. The other aspect of all this is Atmanirbhar Bharat. That means how can I be self-reliant? So while we all know about Atmanirbhar Bharat and being self-reliant, but how do I apply it in an academic institution? So I am building all these competencies within BIM. So today BIM has Financial Trading and Analytics Center, and no other institute in Tamil Nadu has it, not even IMTG or IIT Madras. Okay, we have 3 Blue terminal. We have LC Smart Simulation Software. We can do a lot of interdisciplinary research. So we are Atmanirbhar. We used to rely on external faculty from one of the IIM to teach Markstat. So I called my marketing area chair. I and marketing area chair, both of them together got trained in Markstat simulation. We are running that course now ourselves. So these are examples of Atmanirbhar Bharat and realizing that in our own institute, in our own life. Okay. So this is what we have to do. The new paradigm in the governance that Modi ji has talked about and shown it. It's like management of farm sector, drive against corruption, then smooth interplay between development and the environmental protection, and then the kind of governance response has been to response to COVID-19. The way India responded to COVID-19 and our mass vaccination program, that is a case study by itself. No other country globally can match it. And India has become the vaccine capital of the globe. And integrating technology into day-to-day governance. So technology is getting integral to our day-to-day governance. And taking big, and thinking big and executing at scale. How can we execute at scale? So just imagine Beam is it's a independent and autonomous school of excellence, and with that, and we have only 120, only 240 students. With that, today we have become the academic partner of Government of Tamil Nadu to run the Chief Minister's Scholarship Program. How many people registered for this program? 80,000 people. We organized country-wide test. So could we think of it maybe 1 year before? No. But we are taking that leap. We are getting into the unknown. And when you work with the government, it's a very high-stake game because there could be incidents of question paper leaking or nationwide tests, maybe some computer not working. And whenever it is a government mechanism, then there will be opposite party, and they are always looking for something to blame the government. So it's a high stake game, but we plunged into it, just like the way Modi plunged into say your demonetization, good or bad. I'm not going to say, but it's something. It's a massive deal. The GST implementation. So kind of is taking that big leap forward, having the confidence, taking risk, and thinking at scale, at a big scale, not a small changes, but it's a big change. Demonetization. Okay, so these are the aspects that we need to look at. So I'm not sure if you could hear me, or I hope I'm audible. So I would end here by saying this wonderful book, Modi at 20. I congratulate CUTN and also Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Krishnan for taking this initiative, for inviting me to this event. And my only request to all the participants is that let us not read this book just reading the book and knowing about Modi, eulogizing Modi, but how to capture the sense of Modi, the sum of the good traits and the leadership style and the management practices of Modi, and apply it to our own institute, to our life and at our workplace, in our own processes. So with this, I look forward to see you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving your meaningful input on this topic. May we now kindly invite our esteemed guest, Professor P. Sabhabati, sir, former Chairman, ICSSR, New Delhi, to give the closing remarks of this panel. Sir.
So far, I think for more than almost 2 hours, we have been listening to 3 academics and 1 former principal advisor to the Director General of UNIDO. So from their own perspectives, they presented, different thoughts, different views of Modi, Prime Minister Modi, as Chief Minister and now Prime Minister. Of course, Modi is a multifaceted personality, and if we see his 20 years of governance at the state and at the central level, we come to know how diverse is his approaches relating to different issues. So, I am planning to put it under different heads. If we want to understand Prime Minister Modi as Chief Minister and Prime Minister, there are certain unique features, aspects under which we can present him. I will very briefly present those approaches, many of which were discussed by your own eminent speakers earlier. The first unique feature of Modi's approach as Prime Minister and earlier as Chief Minister is nation first approach, India first approach. So whether it is domestic issues or international issues at the international level, he always puts India at the center. So India first approach. That is the reason why Article 370 was removed because it was an impediment to the unity and integrity of India. Even though when it was introduced in 1950, the then Prime Minister and all other leaders, they assured the people of India that this would be removed as quickly as possible. But nothing happened, and after so many years, after 7 decades, Prime Minister did it because for him, India is first. We can say there is a lot of other initiatives also. Very at present, we have initiated one important scheme. Har Ghar Tiranga. Every house over Nakudi, over Vittil, over Nakudi. Every house we should have national flag. This is a new initiative. It's own initiative where we keep our national flag high at our houses so that the national spirit will come. And we all know that in the last 8 years, every year we always spent Diwali with our defense personnel at the borders, at far off places. So this is how he keeps India first at every opportunity. When we see at the international level, some of you might have noticed it, all around for more than 65, 70 years, we were responding to the dictates of the Western nations, so powerful nations. Once upon a time powerful, but they have lost much of their power now. But it is they who dictate things, whether it was in WTO, World Trade Organization, or United Nations, or any other international level. All of us know a few years back, 2015-16, for the first time, India stood up to the pressures of the Western nations of the WTO, World Trade Organization, and now in all international arena, we have our own interests at the center. So we no longer succumb to the pressures of the Western countries, however powerful they may be. This is not happening. And besides, now we have emerged as the voice of the so-called poor and developing countries. Some of you might have noticed that now India represents the voice of the rest of the countries in the international arena. So this is the first feature of this governance model. Second, target-oriented, time-based performance governance. He sets targets and follows them sincerely. We all know how meeting takes place very regularly. When he was Chief Minister, I know monthly meetings, weekly meetings. Now also every 2 months once, meeting all the chief secretaries, top officials of different states. Then fixes responsibilities, and I keep them in advance. I remember in 2017 when he came to power, one of his first first idea was to give electricity to all the villages in the country. So when they estimated there were more than around 18,400 villages without electricity, he fixed that target, followed it up, and before the target date, it got fulfilled. So this is just one example. Similarly, this Jan Dhan scheme, when it was introduced, there was a lot of opposition. People from the RBI, people from other opposition parties, they were asking, when people don't even have the money to open accounts, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, how will they come and join this Jan Dhan scheme and deposit money? But Mr. Modi was firm because he knows the bulk of the people. As a result, today we have more than 46 crore Jan Dhan accounts in India, the highest ever in any country in the world in a period of just 7-8 years. And in all these accounts, you will be surprised to know we have almost 1,60,000 crores as deposits. So this is the kind of approach that he follows. And many of you may be knowing about this free gas scheme, Ujjwala scheme. When he fixed a target initially 1 crore, people adopted. Now 9 crore poor women have got Ujjwala. So this is how his governance model works. And third important feature is development of all people. Concentration on weaker sectors. Earlier, always development policies used to target specific communities, largely for vote bank policies. Now there is no differentiation. When a scheme is announced, whether it is Jan Dhan or pension to farmers or these globally, but he gives more attention to the vulnerable sections. As a result, all of us know now there are 20 ministers for the first time in the history of India, 20 central ministers belonging to ST communities. First time is from Tamil Nadu, we have a person from the Undisputed community, which was never represented in independent India at the Union Ministry. We have a minister. So this is how things work. Draupadi Murmu as our president, from scheduled tribe community from the remote village in Odisha. So this is how we gives attention to the vulnerable sections, but no distinction otherwise between among people. We all know that whenever schemes are announced, that schemes are announced for the sections that require, the sections that were neglected earlier when the Corona scheme was announced. Of course, there were different schemes, but one particular scheme that attracted many people was, for the first time, they decided to give 10,000 pieces loan to the street vendors. All these years, they were all neglected. Nobody paid attention to them, but there are crores of people. Now there is a portal for registration of this non-corporate, what we call unorganized labor, unorganized section. E-Shram portal. In India, it is the non-corporate, the so-called unorganized sector. In fact, they are not unorganized. They are more organized than the government sector, but that is how they are classified. We call them as non-corporate sector. There are more than, if I remember right, 12 crore people or so have already registered. So it is they who contribute to the economy. More than 2/3 of national income comes from this particular segment. So concentrating on the unattended, vulnerable section, this is the third priority feature. And fourth, using technology for transparency and development. This is Modi's biggest achievement. All of us know, earlier one Prime Minister said, if we send 1 rupee from Delhi, 15 rupee only reaches Tiruvanamalai or Tirumangalam village. But here, he introduced this technology as a result of which direct benefit transfer takes place. So, when a butter is pressed here, there in Delhi, 11 crore villages across India get farmers' pension. It has never happened in the history of India. So it is happening now. And digitalization, Professor Farmer was talking about it. So as a result of this digitalization, huge benefits are taking place. And there is absolutely no chance for corruption. Some of you may be knowing that with the use of technology, digitalization, now schemes are being connected. They are all from the education field. Now there is a Vidya Lakshmi portal. If you go to the portal, students can get all details with regard to all loans. Earlier, they used to go to different sections and then try to find out, how could they take for any benefit of the thing. Now there is no problem. You go to one portal, you get all details. So these are all usage of technology for the benefit of the people. And Professor Farmer was talking about this payment mechanism. Last month, you will be happy to know that 6 billion transactions have taken place through this payment method. Completely Indian, completely native method. So we have overtaken, and he said, not just China, rest of the countries as well. And fifth important aspect of Modi's approach is that transforming crisis into opportunity. Some of you may be knowing that just before he took over as the Chief Minister of Gujarat in 2001, there was a huge earthquake. And the government at that time found it difficult to manage it. He became the Chief Minister and he handled it so well that the world came to know about it. I remember when we were visiting Morbi. Morbi is an industrial town in Gujarat. It is Morbi that makes all this Ajanta wall cloth, and they are the largest wall cloth manufacturers in the entire world. This Morbi, in Morbi there is a river, Harichari River, and in that river there were floods. So because the dam broke, the entire town was wiped out. And within 20 years they rebuilt it And then they made it as one of the most richest places in India. I remember when we went there, it was India's highest per capita earning town. India's highest per capita earning town. It is not just wall blocks, computers, calculators, and then the ceramic items. They are all made there even today. So what is the reason? One reason is that Modi was there during that time in the 1970s, late 1970s. He organized people. He asked them not to wait for the government to start initiatives towards them. So he led from the front. So he uses every crisis into an opportunity. That is how during Corona also he handled the situation. For the first time in India's history, within 9 months, India was able to make 2 vaccines. Not just that, India is the only country that has given doses to 200 crore people. Nowhere in the world it has taken place. America has a population of just 33 crores. But even today they are not able to give doses even to half of their population. This is the situation. Not just that. In March 2020, April 2020, when Corona attacked all of us in the world, no country was prepared. So as a result, we did not have personal protective equipment. No country had. But within a year, we did not manufacture these PPE items for ourselves. In fact, within 6 months we made it. We became exporters. That is the most important point. I come from a place in Coimbatore called Sohanur, which is about 20-25 kilometers from the Coimbatore city. Even in our own business center, 2 people made this PPE kit. As a result, in 2021, we became exporters. We started exporting to different countries. At that time, India was dealing under Corona crisis. Can we believe it? But this is how Prime Minister Modi turned the crisis into opportunity. And the sixth important feature of all his governance model is India-centric approach. India-centric. Keeping the economic, social interests of India. I remember in his first Independence Day address, August 15, 2014, he made 2-3 important points. Of course, one is about target, and second one is about his planning commission. He said he is going to completely change the planning commission. Why? Because this planning commission was introduced in 1950 when Nehru was the prime minister. At that time, he introduced this planning commission following the idea concept of Soviet Russia. Soviet Russia was under Stalin. Stalin is one of the most cruel rulers of our times. During his time, you will be surprised to know 30 million people were killed, 3 crore people, including students and teachers of universities and colleges. So at that time, he wanted people, his own group, to take decisions for the entire country, sitting in Moscow. The same system was adopted here. As a result, some of you may be knowing that all decisions used to take place in Delhi. I remember in 2011 or 12, when Madam Jayalalitha was the chief minister, we went to attend the planning commission meeting. And after 5 minutes, the then planning commission chairman, Montek Alubalia, he pressed the bell saying that, Madam, your time is over, you close your speech. He said, I represent 7.5 crore people and you organize meetings once in a year. How can I complete all my points within 5 minutes? Then she was given another 2 minutes. Again, he pressed the bell. She came out and then gave an interview that these planning commission meetings are not properly conducted. It's true. This is how it was used to take place. So Prime Minister, when he Narendra Modi, when he became the Prime Minister, he removed this system and then introduced this Niti Ayog today. I don't know, some of you may have visited or some of you may have known. Now it is the group of chief ministers who are taking the decision. People's representatives who are taking the decision. And these groups come to each state to find out the problem. So no longer decisions are taken by bureaucrats sitting in Delhi. In fact, in those days, the topmost bureaucrat used to be from IMF or World Bank. They don't know, I'm sorry to say, nothing about the villages or the rural parts of India. So he has completely made it India-centric institution. And all of us know Professor from Pondicherry University mentioned Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. This is what India requires. Some of us are involved in conducting studies in different parts of the country. In India, there is enormous strength and service. Only thing is, we don't understand the functioning India. As far as universities are concerned, we remain aloof from the functioning society. So we live in our own world, studying Western theories and then trying to imitate them. It cannot succeed. But the functioning India is something different. So that is the reason why Prime Minister is now giving emphasis, concentrating on self-reliant India, because India remains self-reliant for thousands of years. Not just self-reliant, it was the most prosperous state in the world till the 18th century. So all these policies now are aiming towards the self-reliant India. As a result, within a period of 5-6 years, we have become second largest importers of mobile phones now. Second largest import. Earlier, till 2014, we were importing. Now we are exporting. We have reduced. Professor was mentioning about defense equipment. Now our defense imports have reduced to a large extent because all along we have been dependent on Western countries. I don't know when I visited DRDO for the first time some 10, 15 years back. In the lounge, only Americans and Europeans were sitting. I had a doubt whether we are in India or not. Then when I met one of my closest friends, who is a senior official now, I asked him, why so much foreigner? He said, you don't know. It is only the foreigners who supply defense items to India. No idea. But now things are changing. Now our own small scale industries are supplying items to defense ministry. In Coimbatore, we have a defense corridor. In Salem, the corridor is there. Hosur corridor is there. Tirupati is part of the corridor. Similarly, Uttar Pradesh corridor is there. Not only that, certain MSME items are reserved. In fact, the public sector unit have to buy those items, I think 10 or 20% from the MSME units only. So we are becoming Atmanirbhar, self-reliant. India by nature is self-reliant. Even today, about 50% of India is self-employed India. In the case of the Western countries, America, Europe, it is 6%, 5%. But India, 50%. So he is taking advantage of it. And 7, unique feature of his governance model is he always introduces, whenever he feels it is necessary, historic innovative schemes. I don't have time. In Gujarat, he has introduced, for example, literacy rates were, admission rates were low in Gujarat in those days, particularly girls. They were not admitted. Parents hesitate to admit them in school in those days. So every year, when we were visiting for the first time, 1 month of June, July, Chief Minister himself, along with the officials, all teachers, used to visit villages, go to the houses, compel their parents, advise them, so that they would join, make children join the school. As a result, within a few years, 100% literacy was achieved. This is just one example. Similarly, in Gujarat, he made the entire agricultural ministry officials to go and talk to each villager owning land. That is how agricultural growth exceeded 10% there. So this is his approach. One of our earlier speakers was mentioning about GST. Earlier, they come from Coimbatore, there were 17 taxes. If an item has to go from Coimbatore to Maharashtra, 17 different types of taxes. In Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, there will be different tax. Karnataka, when it crosses, tax will be different. Andhra border, some other tax. Maharashtra, some other tax. Now there is only one tax. Of course, there are some issues. 95% of the issues have already been solved. As a result, last month we got the highest income, 1,49,000 crores. So positive things are happening. Similarly, national education policy is a historic opportunity for it. Some of us, whenever we go and study this industrial business center, as I mentioned earlier, we realize that the education system, whether it is our management education, economics education, or whatever, particularly social sector, they are completely detached from the reality. While the country as a whole is moving up, 70 years back we were a poor nation. Today we are the most potential nation in the world because our society has enormous thing. It is taking India forward. But we sitting in the universities, colleges, we don't understand them. We don't realize them. Now, national education policy is going to connect the functioning society with the educational institution. So far, it has never happened. Anna University Vice Chancellor, earlier Vice Chancellor Goswami used to say, he's an electrical engineer. You know, we teach students electrical engineering. After completing his course, studying for 4 years, he goes home during vacation. Mother says there is huge problem in our house. Can you fix it up? That does not come. So this is the kind of education we provide. But the ordinary boy working in the field, he knows how to fix it. This is not just engineering. This is there in all other fields. In all other fields. In fact, in sociology, first class, what we teach is Max Weber's theory, which says that India and China will never progress because they believe in Indic tradition, Hindu Buddhist philosophy. But it is India and China which is taking the global economy forward today. So this is the kind of gap that we have. I'm a management teacher, finance teacher. Whenever I go and see, I go to the classes, these finance models. Many times I teach the failed model. There is a model called the Black-Scholes model, for which they got Nobel Prize in 1997. These two professors, they thought, oh, the entire world is using our model. Then why should we go and work in a university for a fixed salary? They resigned their jobs. They set up a company. The company name was Long-Term Capital Management. They became full-time advisors. There was a huge expectation in the international market. Oh, for the first time, two Nobel laureates have set up a company. So we will earn millions of dollars as profit. Many executives resigned their jobs and then joined this company. Many people invested their money so that they will be able to reap huge benefits. First year results came in 1998. You know, they have lost not just their initial capital, but more than 40, 50 times of their capital. They became paupers overnight. They lost all their money. They did not know what to do. Of course, again, they went back to teaching. You will be surprised to know that even today, we are teaching the same subject in India. That's my output. So this is the kind of education that we have. So we need to connect it. So that is why the significance of national education policy. This is going to completely change our education system. I have no doubt about it. An education system which has no connection with the local society will never provide fair education. And this is what we have been doing, unfortunately, for the last 50, 70 years. So we are victims of the colonial education. Fortunately, that is changing now. And the recent development, Agnibath, being introduced by the government of India, it's a very important initiative because all along around the world, whether it is America, China, etc., if you see the average age of an army man, it is in 20s, but in India it is 30. So if at all we have to fight, we need to have young people. That is the reason why this Agnibath scheme is introduced. So what I want to emphasize here is, Prime Minister, whenever he feels this is necessary, without hesitation, he has the courage to introduce and implement the schemes. Then the eighth aspect is taking India to the global level. We all know how there is enormous respect for India. Dr. Jaishankar has written about it. So when Yoga Day was proposed as International Yoga Day on June 21st, most of the nations, more than 130 nations, immediately accepted it. And all of us, some of us may be knowing, again, it is mentioned here. India is leading the world now. You know, throughout the world, this pollution problem is there. So dependence on petrol, diesel is going to be dangerous. No solution. But Prime Minister suggested solar as an alternative energy in 2015 in Paris conference. You will be happy to know now International Solar Alliance Foundation is in Haryana. Headquarters is in Haryana. So now we are leading the world today. And the ninth important aspect is zero tolerance towards terrorism. All of you may be knowing these militant activities. Terrorist activities are coming down, and there is zero tolerance to corruption also. Corruption at high places has come down drastically. And the last point is, you know, Prime Minister is working vigorously to make India a superpower. You know, we have enormous power as a nation, and we remain as the superpower for hundreds, thousands of years together. And here, again, we have a leader who is taking India forward, where our own strength, based on our own civilizational strength. India has enormous civilizational strength. Family is a strength in India. Society is a strength in India. Culture is a strength in India. Women have enormous strength. Nowhere women is respected. Here, women remain the critical force, central figure in all economic development and social development. But for which you have to respect them. But they are demeaned women, demeaned families. As a result, now their economies are sinking. There is close coordination between culture and economic development. Prime Minister, for the first time after independence, he recognized it. Sometime back, one of our earlier speakers was mentioning about Tamil. Last week, when he was in Chennai, we were having an opportunity to interact with him. We all three are in every meeting, wherever you go, you say Tamil is a great language, oldest language in the world. So, how do you do it? He said, I sincerely believe that Tamil is the oldest language in the world. He openly admitted, this is not just for election, I sincerely believe that Tamil is the oldest language and the richest language in the world. That is the reason why wherever I go, I'm telling the virtues of Tamil, whether it is international forum or army meeting, wherever it is, this is what he said. So, here, Professor IIM Director Dr. Ashish Parma was mentioning rightly, we are not assembled here to praise Mr. Modi as Prime Minister, but to understand him better and to recognize his contribution so that he may take part in the nation building process at this critical time. We are fortunate to have a leader like Modi at present, and we have to understand in the last budget, Finance Minister mentioned that this is the 75th year of independence. This is Amrut Kalam. This is what was mentioned. This is Amrut Kalam. So in the next 25 years, the idea is take India forward so that it will become Vishwa Guru, global power in the next 25 years. So we have a leader after so many decades, after so many centuries also, can say, if you take Pan India as a whole, who is leading from the front to take India forward. We are fortunate to have him. So we have assembled here to understand him better, to recognize him, and to take part in all the national initiatives. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. And the entire team organizing this discussion.
Thank you very much, sir, for your informative concluding remarks on the book titled Discussion on Modi at 23 Week 10. We are thankful to all our honorable chief guests and eminent panelists of this discussion. Thank you, sir. It's time to thank each and everyone who has made this day a grand success. May we now invite our most respectable librarian, Dr. R. Parmeshwaran, sir, Central University of Tamil Nadu, to deliver the word. Sir.
It gives me great pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks in this event. First of all, I thank our honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for his proceeding address in this event and his support to organize this event. I also thank you for giving me this opportunity to organize this event with the association of Dr. P.S. Venugopalan, sir. I express my sincere thanks to Professor P. Kannada Sabhavati, former chairperson, for chairing this session and sharing his interesting experience with the Honorable Prime Minister Modi. I thank Dr. P. Venugopalan for his detailed discussion of this book Modi at 20. I thank Dr. Navamal for the extensive discussion of all chapters in this book. I thank Professor Amresh for his thoughts on this book on an economist view. I thank Professor S. Narayan for his felicitations in this event. I thank Dr. Ashish Parma for his inputs in this book. I thank our financial officer, deans, heads, faculty, officers, staff, students of CUPN for their participation in this event. I thank faculty and other staff of CUPN who have associated with me for this event to make sense. I thank all the media persons for their coverage in this event. I thank all the supporting staff for their support to conduct this event. Thank you very much.
We request everyone to kindly wait for national anthem. जनगणमनाधिनायक जयते भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्तर तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाने तव शुभ समारे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगल नायक जय भारत भाग्य विधाता जय 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 जय